And we're back here at West Point Chrysler Jeep Dodge, and it is a pleasure to bring in the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys as they get ready to take on the Sooners Saturday night in Stillwater, Mr. Mike Gundy. Michael, how are you, sir?
Good, Jim.
Let me ask you something. I mean, be real truth from me. You got some butterflies? You excited about this game? I mean, I know it's a, quote, another game, but this is pretty exciting, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's really exciting. The week takes forever because there's so much anticipation, and with the success that the players have had this year and all the excitement in the community and on campus, and you have the game day bus driving around here on Monday, and then they're coming back in on Friday, and you have Thanksgiving. And so there's a lot of excitement, and then you have to wait till 7 o'clock on Saturday night to kick it off. So it feels like forever, but that's a good thing. I mean, when there's a lot of excitement generated and you're playing in a big game, then that means good things are happening.
I only played 2 night games in my entire life in football. One of them was in high school. There was only one team in our county that had lights, and we went there. And I got to tell you, it was the longest day of my life to get ready for that game. And then we went to Arkansas and played Arkansas in Little Rock, but I was the backup, but John Dorner got hurt, so I wasn't starting, so I was just kind of like wailing around. But then I ended up playing. But, gosh, 7 o'clock games, I mean, Saturday during the day, these guys must go crazy.
Well, they do, and it's no different when you're playing in the big leagues in baseball and you wait around all day to play a night game, and you just things go through your mind all day, and you can't sleep. It's hard to sleep for a couple of days before the game, and then you have some free time during the day. You go through all your meetings, you go through all your walkthroughs and your preparation, and then you have a few hours to lay down. And really, the best thing to do is to get somewhere quiet and just rest. But you can't sleep. Your mind is racing, and you have butterflies, and it's just part of the business. But again, when you're in those situations, obviously good things are happening.
Hey, I'm talking with Mike Gundy here. You got to tell us as much as you can about Justin Blackman. We've talked about or hearing about that he was on some crutches, had a little boot on, stuff like that. Do you expect him to be 100% Saturday?
Oh, I don't think he's going to be 100%. We boot those guys and get them off of it for a few days, and then get them out there and practice, and they progress further as the week goes on. But he has a foot injury, and I don't think that he'll be 100%.
Okay, sounds good. You brought something up the other day at your press conference that I'm a huge believer in. I talk about this all the time, and that's chemistry. And I played on teams that weren't as talented, that had great chemistry. I played on talented teams that didn't have good chemistry. I would much rather have a little less talent and a lot of chemistry. Why has this team developed the chemistry that it has that you talked about?
Oh, Jim, it starts at the top, and I say that humbly, meaning that our coaching staff has to instill that in our football program and our players. And there's about 250 people in our organization, and from coaching and coaching staff and administration staff and trainers and equipment staff and academics and strength conditioning and players. And everybody has to be all in. And I know that sounds funny, but if everybody's not all in with both feet, then there's always going to be a distraction. There's always going to be doubters, always going to be people that are going to create issues. And we've eliminated 99% of that. I have 127 guys on our team. We have 127 guys on our team, and there's only like 2 guys that I'm not sure are all in. And they've been confronted about that, and the team understands that. So it's very important from top to bottom. The athletic director, the president, the people outside the program, everybody has to be all in, and that creates a great chemistry. And then the second thing that factors into that is Ori Lemon is a great team player. Hugo Chinas is a great team player. Kendall Hunter is a great team player. Brandon Whedon is a great team player, and Justin Blackman is a great team player, just to name a few. Those are your big-time college football players. Well, then you fall to the next level of your Josh Coopers, who's ended up being a really good college player, and Bo Bowling and Markell and Johnny Thomas and Broderick Brown, and they're tough guys that have become good college football players, and they don't have an ego. So when you have a group of guys that just wants to enjoy being around each other, they've accepted it's going to take a lot of hard work, and that develops that chemistry that you're talking about. I would much rather coach a bunch of guys that care about each other than coach a bunch of guys that won't dive for loose balls or set screens or picks.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. I couldn't agree with you more. Hey, how much did it have to do with Brandon Weeden this summer kind of being the coach of the team, kind of getting all the summer things together in your workouts? And, that's an important deal because you guys aren't allowed to see and be a part of that. Do you think that was a big deal as far as rubbing off on the squad?
It was it was big time because they have to orchestrate their own summer conditioning and summer workouts. And it's huge in September. What they do with Rob Glass in June and July, and then the practices that the seniors on both sides of the ball orchestrate, and then the players go against each other. We're not out there. We don't even see it. I never even see these guys do anything. Last time I see them was in spring ball, and then I see them again in August. And they've run 25, 30, 40 practices on their own, an hour practice at a time. And he stepped right in there and had the maturity to do it. And we got very lucky. He was 26 years old. He's got a great demeanor. So he'd kind of been through a lot, so he understood how important it was. And they had great summer conditioning and had great off-season workouts.
Talking with Mike Gundy, head coach, Oklahoma State. Michael, okay, without naming names, can you give me a round figure of how many players on this team have played better this year than you expected?
Well, the key guys on our team, just on offense, I don't think anybody would have anticipated Justin Blackman playing this well.
Right.
We knew he was good, but good is kind of a joke right now. But Bo Bowling has played way over his head. Josh Cooper is getting better and better, playing much better than I thought he would. Brandon Weeden has exceeded everybody's expectations. Our offensive line, I had doubts whether we could even block anybody before spring ball because nobody had played and the guys hadn't really shown up. It really concerned me. Isaiah Anderson was not even on our radar at this time a year ago. Colton Chelf, nobody even knew who he was. People thought he was just a water boy when the season started. He's got 15, 20 catches, got him a couple touchdowns. Broderick Brown's playing above his head. Markel and Johnny have kind of come into their own. Markel is matured as a player, but Johnny Thomas was not always 100% in. He went through about 18 months where he was kind of salty most of the time, and he's bought in now, and he understands the importance of being a team player. Hugo Chinos is playing good. Jamie Blatnick's playing over his head. Ori Lemon's playing terrific. Justin Jent's playing over his head. So, there's just a number of guys that are playing better than what we would have anticipated that they would have.
That's good stuff. Just one after another, isn't it? That's
It is, and really that's what we're supposed to do. Every player deserves a coach that believes in him, and then each player is supposed to play at the highest level he can as an individual to contribute to the team. Josh Cooper's never going to play like Des Bryant, but Josh Cooper has to play the best that he can. That's his responsibility.
Right. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Bedlam series, Mike. You played in it, you coached in it, you now head coached it. It's very, very obvious, without hurting anybody's feelings, that Oklahoma is the number one program, has been a long, long time. Now, Oklahoma State at times have beaten them, but they're coming off 7 wins in a row. You come into this game with more wins as a favorite and also everything in your hands, the Big 12 championship, a BCS bowl game, all these other things. I don't have to tell you all this. You know what I'm saying. So let me ask you this. Are you a little bit nervous that this squad won't not buckle under all that pressure, but will realize the pressure a little bit, and it might be a little bit harder for them to get going in this football game?
Well, you always get a little bit concerned about guys feeling the pressure, but one thing that's worked to our benefit this year is we've had pressure to overcome some difficult situations. Now, Bedlam is in a class by itself, but there was a lot of talk in the press about Oklahoma State not winning in Lubbock since '44, not winning in Austin since '44. This team had never beat Texas. Texas had always come back, and we could never beat Texas, and hadn't won in Manhattan since '88. And